What's up everyone? Today I bring you the first video of many covering themed inventories, and today we will be doing the highly requested Cyan theme, which was actually harder to do than I expected it to be. Cyan isn't blue, so skins had to be matched up very closely to make them work with the entire loadout, but since Cyan is such a bright color, it made the full loadout look absolutely amazing. With that being said, let's get straight into today's loadout. So starting things off, we're obviously going to go with the gloves first, and those are going to be overprints. They're going to be an absolute staple to this loadout. They're fully cyan, they're pattern based, they're pretty decently priced as well, so these are great gloves if you want to go with a cyan themed inventory. Moving on to the knives, you have a few great options, and I recommend going with diamond gems. You could get a gut knife diamond gem, a flip knife, bayonet, or karambit. These are all going to be Gamma Doppler phase 1s, and they have this nice bluish cyan color to them that matches the overprint gloves very nicely. So if you want the absolute cheapest one, definitely go with the gut knife. The diamond gems on them look great. For the AK, we have two great skins that we could go with. Ice Cold is a cheaper alternative. It's a nice skin that's nearly full cyan, and it goes from a gradient of green to blue. And if you could go with a more expensive option, I highly recommend the Neon Rider. It's a ton of cyan all over the gun itself looks very clean, and it's a great match for the overprint gloves in general. For the M4, we're going to go with Bullet Rain. It's the only cyan colored M4 in the game, and it's a pretty clean one at that. It has a nice cloud design with a lot of red accents, and it's a pretty clean skin overall. For the M4, you have two great options. One is on the cheaper side and one is quite expensive. The Player 2 is a great cheaper alternative. It has a ton of cyan color on it. It's very colorful. I think it works with the shape of the gloves themselves very nicely as well. And if you can afford the Icarus Fel, I think it is an overall better option. Icarus Fel is fully cyan as well. It's pattern based and it does match better, but the Player 2 is a great option nonetheless. For the AUG, we have the Ricochet. It's a great cheap alternative for the AUG. There's other skins that you can do, but I think this is the best one because the shapes on the gun itself actually matches some of the patterns for the gloves. So it's a great AUG skin to add to the cyan themed inventory. Moving on to the ops, there weren't any fully cyan ops available. However, I went with the Neo Noir since it has a ton of cyan accents all over the gun, which match very nicely with the gloves. And for the more expensive option, we have the Silk Tiger. It's a bit of a different shade of cyan compared to the gloves. However, they do still match in terms of color, and if you want this Miami Vice themed op, I think this is a great addition to the cyan loadout. For the FAMAS, there was really only one skin that matched, and it is quite expensive. It's the Waters of Nephis. However, it does look very nice. It's a great collection skin. It looks very nice when you inspect it, when you shoot it, the design lights up, and in terms of color matching, this is basically a 1-to-1 for the gloves. So for the Galil, there weren't many options, and the best one is the Sugar Rush. It is a bit more expensive. However, it's a very nice color match in terms of the gloves because pink and blue all goes with cyan very nicely, and it does have some cyan accents placed all over the gun too. So very nice Galil skin as well. For the SG, we have an absolutely wonderful option. It's going to be the Mainframe. Mainframe is cheap and has a ton of cyan accents. There's a nice urban skyline design that's covered in these cyan accents, and it matches very nicely within our cyan loadout. For the G3, we have the Dream Glade, and it's a surprisingly good match because the inner part of the gun is the cyan color and the outside's this green color, and with the recent update to gloves, overprints have this little bit of a green hint to them, so this combo right here is basically a 1-to-1. Now moving on to the Scar, we obviously have the Grotto. There aren't any super cyan colored, Scar skins. However, this one is a nice blue and cyan, mix, and it's a nice cheap alternative to add to the loadout. For the CZ, we have the Polymer. It's a very cheap skin, and it's very pattern based, so you can find some patterns that have a ton of cyan on them to make it match with the inventory even better. So for the Desert Eagle, we have the Midnight Storm. It's an absolutely wonderful deagle skin, fully cyan. It's got this Japanese aesthetic of waves throughout the whole gun, and this is an absolute 1-to-1 color match on the gloves when you play with it. So for the dualies, we have Melodrama. It's not the greatest match, however, this is the best option because Melodrama has a lot of cyan outlines on it and the text on it is cyan. There isn't really anything better here other than this skin right here, but it is quite cheap. For the 5.7, we have Foul Play. Once again, cheaper skin. It's fully cyan as well. It's pattern based, so you could find yourself a pattern that you like, but it's a nice cheap alternative for the 5.7 to get it basically a full cyan color. For the Glock, there were a few options. However, I chose the Gamma Doppler Phase 3 because it absolutely matched the best. It is a bit pricey, but if you get it in Phase 3, there's a ton of cyan spots and it's pattern based. You could find one that has a ton of cyan on it. And overall, it's just such a good looking skin that I had to include it in the list. So for the P2000, we have a very nice option. It's the Gnarled. It's a very cheap skin and it looks amazing for the price. The monster-like aesthetic on it is full cyan mixed on this pink background. And overall, the gun itself just looks very nice for the price too. So it's a great addition to the cyan loadout. For the P250, we have the X-Ray. There aren't any skins for the P250 that are fully cyan. This is the closest match that we have. And it's a cheap alternative, so I can't complain here. For the R8, there's absolutely no cyan skins at all. So the best thing we have here is grip. It's got like a bluish handle and a steel look on the actual gun itself. It's a nice looking skin, it's cheap, but you could go with pretty much anything because for the R8, there's really nothing that matches one-to-one here to the gloves. Moving on to the Tech 9, we have Avalanche. It's a pretty cool skin, it looks nice, orange accents. The main body is white and cyan, it looks very nice, and it's a pretty good price at that. For the USPS, we have the Neo Noir. Once again, there are no fully cyan colored USPSs, but this one has a lot of cyan accents, and I think the actual graphic design of the Neo Noir on the USPS matches the gloves very nicely, and it's a good looking skin overall. For the Mac 10, we have the Malachite. This is a great option. It's fully cyan, it matches the gloves, and as a little bonus, the Malachite got buffed in CS2 and now is fully shiny, fully reflective, and is a very cheap skin to add on top of all of that. So definitely pick this skin if you're going for cyan here. For the MP5, we have the Phosphor. It's a very colorful skin, but we also see a lot of cyan up front on the barrel, so this is definitely the best option here. Once again, it is pretty budget friendly, and honestly looks great with the gloves for the moderate amount of cyan that we see on the gun. Now, on the MP7, we have the Neon Ply. It's very similar to the MP5 where there's a ton of colors present, but cyan is there, so it does match, and the placement of the cyan makes it look like it's coming off of the gloves themselves, so it's a great budget option here as well. On the MP9, we have Mountain Fuji. Now, there are better options with, like, say, the Stained, but that one's like $80, and that's quite expensive for an MP9 skin, so I went with the Mountain Fuji. It's a great looking skin. A couple of the parts of the gun is cyan as well, like the button, and there's cyan accents on the clouds, so I thought this would be a great addition to the loadout. For the P90, we have Traction, which I recently featured in my Best Skins Under $1 video. It's very nice in terms of the 3D mapping. They improved this skin a lot from CSGO. And to add on top, all of the parts that are 3D are fully cyan, so this matches the inventory very nicely. For the Bison, we had a few options, but I thought the best one was Embargo since the main body of the gun is this cyan color. It's a bit of a rusty, beat up looking skin, but if you really want to match it one-to-one with the gloves, I think Embargo is your best option here. On the UMP, there were a ton of great options, but my personal favorite was Primal Saber. It's a nice graphic design of a tiger skull mixed in with like this scratch design that's fully cyan, and playing with it is very nice with the gloves. It's just an absolutely great match in terms of color. On the mag, we have Cobalt Core, which is pretty much the only option for cyan. Does look good though, it's a cheap skin, and it's pattern based, so you can get a pattern that has a little bit more cyan to make the gun look a little bit better with the gloves. The Nova really only had one skin to work with, and that was the Hyper Beast. It is a bit more expensive, but it is a very good looking skin, and there are a few parts on the skin that are cyan. It's mainly, green, purple, pink, blue, and orange, but the cyan color goes well with all those other colors, so I do think this works in terms of our loadout here. On the sawed off, we have Apocalypto. Once again, it's a pretty slept on skin. It's got a pretty cool graphic. The full, design of the gun is purple. However, the main hand is cyan, matches very nicely with the gloves, and it's a pretty well priced skin at that, so this is a great option for the sawed off. On the XM, we have Slipstream. It's basically a very cheap pattern-based XM skin, and it has a lot of cyan accents, so this was definitely the best option for this gun right here. For the M249, we have Downtown. There are no skins here that are fully cyan, and this was the closest match because the skin is pink, purple, and blue, so the gloves accompany the skin very nicely. And lastly, for the Negev, we have Power Loader, which is a full yellow-based skin, but a lot of the accents are going to be cyan, and the belt is going to have like cyan bullets on it. It's a pretty good looking Negev skin out of all the ones that we have here, and I definitely had to include this in the list for our cyan loadout. So, here's my complete guide to the cyan colored loadout. If y'all would like for me to do any other specific colors or multicolored loadouts, let me know in the comments down below. I've got a ton of great videos coming soon to the channel that I'm excited to post, And with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and have a wonderful day everyone. Peace out.